Here's a question that might make you uncomfortable. If you're genuinely a good option for a woman, is it actually your responsibility to show intent, to be persistent, to try to make it happen? One of the greatest salesmen in history learned this lesson the hard way, and it applies directly to dating. Let me tell you a story about a legendary sales trainer from decades ago. Early in his career, he was selling cookware door to door in the rural South, in close-knit communities where everyone knew each other. He meets a guy who is absolutely the perfect demographic for his product, could completely benefit from it. The product would genuinely improve his life. He goes through his presentation, features, benefits, everything. The guy's interested, nodding along, seems to like it. But when he gets to the close, the actual selling part, the guy says something unexpected. Look, I got the money for your product right here in my hand. You can see it, but you ain't getting it. I've been saving up to get an indoor toilet installed. I don't have indoor plumbing. I've been using the outhouse my whole life. I finally saved enough for that toilet, and I am not giving you this money. I want my damn indoor toilet. Now, this salesman had also grown up poor. He knew what it was like to have an outhouse. He knew those cold winter nights. He genuinely empathized with the guy. He thought, you know what, this man deserves his indoor toilet. I'm not going to push. So he said, okay, sir, I completely understand. Good luck with the toilet. And he left. A week later, he's talking to this man's sister, and she says, man, my brother hates you. He's confused. What? Why? I was perfectly nice to him. I didn't pressure him. What are you talking about? He said you wouldn't sell him any cookware. What do you mean? I tried to sell it to him. He told me he didn't want it. No. He wanted to buy that cookware from you, and you wouldn't sell it to him. Now he doesn't trust you anymore. He won't buy from you. The salesman was genuinely confused by this for months, even years. But over the course of his career, it finally dawned on him what actually happened. He knew his product would be good for the guy, and the guy knew that he knew it would be good for him. But he didn't push. Knowing it would be valuable, genuinely believing his product would improve the man's life, he still didn't push hard enough to overcome the objection. The fact that he didn't push made the guy think one of two things. Either he was lying about the product being good, it's not actually valuable, so he gave up easily when challenged, or he didn't care enough about him to fight for his best interests. If this was really the right decision, a good person would have pushed harder. Either way, the trust was broken. Because he empathized too much, because he didn't have faith enough in his product, because he didn't persist, the guy lost trust in him entirely. Think about how counterintuitive this is. He was trying to be respectful, trying not to be pushy, trying to honor the guy's stated wishes. But his lack of persistence communicated something terrible, either dishonesty or lack of care. This exact dynamic happens constantly in dating. Think about a guy who never shows intent. He has crushes on girls in middle school, high school, college. He spends time with them, tries to make them like him, but never actually makes a move, never asks them out, never expresses his interest, never tries to kiss them. There's a window, often a pretty obvious window, where the girl is interested. She's giving signals. She's making herself available. She's hoping he'll do something, but he doesn't. He's too afraid of making her uncomfortable, too afraid of rejection. So he just continues the friendly interaction, hoping somehow it will magically transform into romance without him ever having to risk anything. What happens? The window closes. Not immediately usually, but it closes. And once it closes, it rarely opens again. Why? Because if he actually liked her and didn't make a move, she concludes one of two things. Either he doesn't actually like her that way, he just wants to be friends. So she moves on emotionally, or he doesn't like her enough, or doesn't think he's good enough for her. Either way, he's not being genuine about his interest level. The trust breaks. She feels like he was disingenuous, leading her on without following through. Even though his intentions might have been pure, he was just scared. The effect is the same. Here's the uncomfortable truth. If you really are a good option for a woman, if you genuinely would be good for her, it's kind of your responsibility to try. Not to be pushy, not to ignore her, no. Not to pressure or manipulate, but to be persistent in a positive way, to show genuine intent, to make your interest clear and give her the opportunity to say yes. Think about it from her perspective. If you're interesting, attractive, compatible with her, but you never show clear intent, never make a move, she has to wonder why. Either you're not actually interested, so she should move on, or you're too weak or scared to act on your interest, which is unattractive. Neither interpretation helps you. But if you show intent clearly and persistently, while remaining calibrated and respectful, you're actually doing her a favor. You're giving her the opportunity to connect with someone good for her. You're being honest about your interest. You're creating the space for something to happen. Now, this doesn't mean being that guy who thinks, well, I'm a good guy, so every woman should want me, and if they don't, they're stupid. That's delusional entitlement. It means having the mindset, I have genuine value to offer. I'm worth getting to know. I'm going to show clear interest and be persistent, but in a way that's positive and calibrated. If she's not interested, fine. I'll respect that and move on. But I'm not going to hide my interest out of fear. There's a massive difference between pushy persistence and positive persistence. Pushy persistence is asking for the same thing over and over, despite clear rejection, ignoring her comfort level, making her feel pressured or guilty, creating negative energy. Positive persistence is showing continued interest while being calibrated to her comfort, backing off when you hit resistance, then trying again later from a different angle, maintaining a positive frame even when she's hesitant, making her feel like you're interested and that she's safe with you. The difference is night and day. Pushy persistence makes women want to get away from you. Positive persistence makes them feel pursued in a way that's actually exciting and flattering. If you genuinely are a good option for a woman, showing intent and being persistent isn't pushy or aggressive, it's honest and respectful. You're giving her the opportunity to connect with someone valuable. But the persistence must come from the right place, not from desperation or neediness, not from, I need this specific woman to validate me, from genuine belief in your value and genuine interest in her as a person. When persistence comes from that place, it's attractive. It communicates confidence, belief in yourself, and genuine interest in her. Even if she ultimately isn't interested, she'll respect it rather than be creeped out by it. Everything we've covered in this series comes down to a shift in perspective. Most men approach dating from a framework of fear of rejection, fear of judgment, fear of being creepy or pushy. And that fear causes them to hide, to play it safe, to never show their full interest. But when you understand the underlying dynamics, the evolutionary wiring, the social capital, the types of intent, the importance of polarization and frame, you can approach dating from a framework of confidence instead of fear. You're not trying to trick women into liking you. You're not running routines or using manipulation. You're simply being genuinely yourself, showing clear interest, persisting in a positive way, and letting women who are right for you respond naturally. That's the real transformation. Not becoming someone else, but becoming the fullest, most confident version of yourself. Someone who understands attraction not as a mystery to be solved, but as a natural dynamic between people when both are being genuine. Master these principles and you don't just get better at dating, you become someone genuinely worth dating.